All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of ACP Automation Adventure. I have been really waiting and excited for this particular interview. We've sort of went back and forth for a while because, I mean, this lady is busy in the best way possible. So I'm just so grateful that you've had the chance to come and talk with us today, and we learn more about you, your background, as well as SHPE. So you all, we have Raquel Tamez here with SHPE, that stands for Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. How's it going, Raquel?
Going great. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. Thank you so much for thinking of me and SHPE and extending the invitation. And no doubt, I'm really glad that it worked out and we're here. So I'm looking forward to having some fun during our conversation.
Yes, and we were just actually joking about how we'll be having lots of notifications from our phones and iPads externally, so you will just excuse us.
Right, all the beeps and rings and things going off. So hopefully not too bad.
The show must go on. So I want to start and read a little bit about your bio just to get a nice background about you, and then we'll get started and learn more about SHPE. Raquel is currently the CEO of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, as we said, SHPE. And prior to SHPE, Tamez was the Chief Legal Officer, the General Counsel, and SVP of Legal of Source America, a national nonprofit that creates employment opportunities for people with significant disabilities. She currently serves as a board member of the Council of Engineering and Scientific Society Executives and represents SHPE on both the Hispanic Association of Corporate Responsibility Board of Directors and STEM Education Coalition. Again, guys, I'm telling you, this lady is, okay, she wears many, many hats. It's wonderful. In 2019, she was appointed by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine as a member of the Committee on Women in Science, Engineering, and Medicine. Similarly, the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion appointed her as a member of the American Society for Engineering Education. She earned her bachelor's degree from the University of Texas at Austin and her Juris Doctor degree from St. Mary's School of Law. And that is just the short bio. I love it. So let's actually bring it from the past to the present. Tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the CEO of SHPE.
Sure, thank you. Well, who would have thought that a lawyer, a trial lawyer and a litigator would end up being a CEO of a professional society, a member association of primarily engineers and other types of STEM students and professionals. So that just goes to show that anything and everything is possible. And just by way of background, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. My parents are immigrants from Mexico. I'm the youngest of six, and I always had a love for learning. And it wasn't so much that my parents prompted me, but they did try to support my interest in learning. And for me now, it's lifelong learning. And because of that love for learning, and I'll just step back and say too, that I grew up in the hood in Houston, Texas, the barrio.
Mm-hmm.
And the schools in my neighborhood weren't great, and so my parents had to work really hard and make lots of sacrifices to send me to schools outside of my neighborhood. So I got bused to schools outside of my neighborhood. And what I saw, with my fellow students is that it always seemed like they had more, and that I always had less. But I actually used that to motivate me, because my thinking was, I'm just as good as these other kids. And so I really worked hard and I studied long hours and I applied myself. And when my parents told me they didn't have money to send me to university, I applied for all kinds of scholarships and ended up getting full ride scholarships to multiple universities and ended up going to the University of Texas at Austin. And once I was going through UT, I knew that I wanted to continue my learning. And so it was a matter of, do I go to medical school? Do I go to dental school? Do I go to law school? And just because of my innate curiosity, and early on, just a sense of justice and the pursuit of justice.
Yeah.
I would hear my parents talk to neighbors and friends and relatives, and it was always very somber in that it was, well, you know, somebody got let go, somebody got fired, and it didn't seem right, but what are we going to do? Or somebody didn't get paid, or didn't get paid fairly, or didn't get paid for that job. Oh, what are we going to do? And I think it was not knowing, having a mastery of the language in English, not knowing about resources, being apprehensive to push back or ask questions or go get, you know, expert advice from a lawyer or an accountant or something like that. And just early on, just knowing that that just seemed wrong. And so as I was about to graduate from the University of Texas, and my lifelong love for learning, I knew that I would go to graduate school. I also knew that to get out of the hood and to be self-reliant and to be independent, that I needed to be able to take care of myself, and that meant through education. And so I ended up deciding to go to law school, and I wanted to have a smaller school experience because the University of Texas is just ginormous. And
Yeah.
I ended up going to a smaller private law school, St. Mary's University School of Law. Participated in, you know, in obviously in my courses, but I did clerkships and I did mock trial and moot court and you know, did a professor, teacher assistant kind of thing, because I wanted to learn as much as possible and really experience as much as possible. I even did an immigration clinic because I wanted to see what I was good at and what I would enjoy. And I learned that I didn't necessarily like to be a transactional lawyer. Those are the lawyers that, you know, draft contracts and things like that. I was like, I want to be a trial lawyer. And I was fortunate upon graduating from law school, actually being made several offers, but I ended up going with a trial lawyer prosecutor position with the United States Department of Labor. So right out of law school, I immediately started having hearings and trials and things like that. And I represented enforcement agencies like OSHA and MSHA and Wage and Hour. It was a great experience. And then ultimately, after 4 years there with the Department of Labor at the solicitor's office, I went in-house counsel for Mary Kay Cosmetics. I was corporate counsel and I managed all the labor and employment issues for their 35 international subsidiaries. And it was really all about the empowerment of women all over the country. And I loved that because, you know, previously at the Department of Labor, it was really about all workers and employees and protecting their rights to be safe and healthy and to be paid fairly and equitably. And so I had a great experience at Mary Kay. Then there was an opportunity to really start to go into technology. I found my way to ACS, which is a technology outsourcing company. And then the general counsel there moved to a larger company called CSC. He asked me to be a part of his team. So I ended up moving from Dallas to the DC area, and I managed global litigation for CSC as a deputy general counsel. So that's, you know, $1 billion, you know, budget to manage all the different pieces of litigation globally. Unfortunately, after almost 5 years, the company pretty much imploded, and unfortunately, thousands of people were let go through what's called a RIF, a reduction in force. And I survived RIF after RIF after RIF, and then finally my time came up. But thankfully, I have good relationships with executive search firm recruiters, and I was able to identify right away an opportunity at a nonprofit. And when the recruiter contacted me, and she mentioned this opportunity, I was like, nonprofit, my eyes glazed over. I was like, I work at a Fortune 100 with 90,000 employees in 90 countries. You want me to go work for a nonprofit? And she says, look at, take a look at it. Look at the mission. And the mission at Source America was to create employment opportunities for persons with significant disabilities. So I thought, I can really get behind that, and let me try it. It's an interim gig until I find something, something different. I got there and absolutely loved the mission and the mission related work. And so one thing led to another. After 3 years, I worked, 3 months as an independent contractor, and then they made me an offer to come in as the general counsel and the chief legal officer. So I went from an independent contractor, one-woman show, to the chief legal officer, general counsel, with a team of 40 subject matter experts and individual contributors. So it was really sort of a swirl of activity and this, career trajectory that I hadn't planned or expected. But, new CEO comes in, and the relationship between a CEO and a chief legal officer and general counsel is a very personal one. And oftentimes when a new CEO comes in, he wants his own people. So I found myself without a job. And I was going through the interview process and looking for other opportunities. I had a few offers on the table. The recruiter for SHPE actually contacted me, and I didn't know anything about SHPE when she first contacted me. I was like, SHPE who? SHPE what? We can vote. And I thought I was a Latina in the know. I was like, how do I not know about this really cool organization? And so I started doing all this research and all this due diligence and started interviewing people to learn more. And I thought, man, this organization has tremendous potential. It is like the best kept secret out there. And it stands for everything that I value and that was helpful to me in my education and in my career. Because I look at what SHPE does, and we'll talk a little more about it later, but SHPE is about 360 support, 365 days. It's mentorship, it's scholarship, it's professional development, leadership development, technical knowledge training. It's having a network, a familia. And those were the types of things that helped me along my academic and my professional careers and trajectory. And so I thought, well, if I can do this, if I can add value to this organization, if I can bring all of my skills and credentials and experience and add value to this organization, I'm going to try. I didn't think I had a chance, but I put on my big girl pants, and I tried nonetheless. And here I am 3.5 years later. It's the best decision that I made. It's not been easy. It's been a lot of work. Being a CEO is lonely, and we can talk about that. And no doubt, it was a challenge to take that leap, right? And make that transition from being a lawyer and a chief legal officer to being a business person and a CEO. And giving up my legal career was tough because I worked so hard for it, and I was going into something that was unknown, and I was anxious and no doubt scared, but I was also very excited. And I'm so glad that I took the calculated risk And here I am, and I'm very proud of what my team and I have been able to accomplish in 3.5 years. We have broken all kinds of records, and we're breaking more, and we're really changing people's lives.
Wow. I mean, all I can say is girl power. Okay. I have no clue and no, I can't even fathom. Where did you get the idea that you wouldn't have a chance to be in the position that you're in? All I'm thinking when you're giving me the steps of your journey is that this woman has the skills to transfer all of your skill set into exactly what you're doing right now. I mean, my goodness, if you want to talk about a story that's inspiring, then I would say Raquel Tamez. I
Oh,
would say that.
and
Thank you for sharing that.
I think you hit it on the nail on the head. It's about really being thoughtful and knowing how what you know and your experience and how to translate it to a new and different role and experience and being able to make the connections and
Yeah,
connect the dots and really to believe in yourself
yeah,
and not get stuck in, oh well, I can't check off every single requirement or preference on this job description. I think oftentimes as women we do that. I think oftentimes as people of color we do that. But I will tell you this, there is research out there that white men are evaluated on potential and women and people of color are evaluated on performance. And no
mhm,
doubt, I think as women and as people of color, we have to be excellent at what we do and who we are. But one of the things that I'm trying to do in my role as the CEO, as an advocate and an influencer, is to change that in corporate America, that we should be looked at for our potential and we should believe in our own potential.
all right, I think we're done with this interview. We got all that we need. I'm telling you, that was probably going to be the most important thing that our student listeners, our younger generation, the younger women and children, they really just need to know that you can do it. Don't look at what's on the paper, look inside of yourself, believe in yourself, and apply anyways, because you'll surprise yourself. You'll really surprise yourself with your own abilities. And I'm so excited, so happy that you went and took that extra step and said, I'm going for it. Watch out, everyone. Let's do this. I love it.
No doubt it has been life changing and life enriching. Like I said, it's not been easy, but anything worth having is worth working for.
Mhm.
And so I think there's still a lot to do, and my team and I are working towards that. But everything we say and do is with an eye towards excellence. And so I always encourage SHIP members that first and foremost, be an excellent student, and then be an excellent engineer. And you happen to be Hispanic, and that's beautiful and awesome, and you bring that to the table too. But first and foremost is just being excellent at what you do.
First and foremost, be excellent. That is the baseline. That is the bottom line. Wow. Raquel, I just enjoyed so much learning your history, your background, your journey, some of your challenges that you've even overcome. My goodness, like I said, all I can think of is that your story and what you've shared with us today is going to really inspire students who can relate with their similar journeys in their lives. We're going to take just a quick break just now, and we'll be right back to go deeper into SHIP. I cannot wait to hear about what you all are doing and what's to come.
Sounds good.
All right.